ask Larry to what he thinks of the demand of the police review boards that are being raised all over the country. How would you respond to that demand?
Well, we had, the thing is sometimes when you win a concession, when you think you're winning a concession, what happens is they co-opt an idea and they change it to fit, them. So usually the way that the civilian review boards, I'm not saying I'm against it, but I'm going to sort of put an example of how they usually play out. And the reason why they do is because the most militant people raise it, and then there becomes a more liberal sector that latches onto it, and that has connections with the political structure, and they sort of take it over and co-opt it. That kind of happened with Occupy Wall Street. And not kind of, it happened with Occupy Wall Street. And then it changes. And so in Denver they had one. What happened is that there were 2 cops that sat on the Civilian Review Board, and there was somebody who was retired from the Department of Homeland Security. So this is not a Civilian Review Board. And what they did is they saw everything from the perspective of the police. They went on ride-alongs, they went through training of the police, and they talked to the police chief, they had meetings with the police chief. They met with the independent monitor, which is a $500,000 position that was created. Was an office that worked with the Civilian Review Board that had no teeth, could only make recommendations to the Denver Police Department. This is how they answered it. I think it's a demand, but I think it must be spelled out exactly what we mean by Civilian Review Board, which means it be civilians, and that the people be chosen, that the people on the review board not be chosen by the mayor or the political structure, but they be chosen by the people of the city, or they be chosen by the neighborhood. Because it might work better that they be neighborhood, because the way that things are changing is that they can change maps and make it look however they want to manipulate elections and get something that doesn't look anything like what you wanted it to be. So I think that as you're developing it, because I think it's a good tactic, it must be very clear what you mean by Civilian Review Board and how it should look, how a People's Review Board looks, versus what they're going to try and force down your throat later. Because they're going to come with their alternative and say, this is what we think. And if they come with that, it must be voted down. Mm-hmm. You can't accept any watered down, because it actually, what it does is it becomes like, it actually stops struggle. It becomes an impediment instead of helping. And so, this is the last thing I'll say. We were called to this meeting in Denver, in Aurora, by the Denver Ministerial Alliance. And the Denver Ministerial Alliance were these Black and Latino ministers who met with the city and the police chief. They were friends with them. They had dinners once a week. They were not, they're guys who live off the ties. They were not doing anything in the interest of the people, even though the people in their churches who sit in their pews were poor and oppressed people. They came to us at the behest of the police chief of Aurora. A young girl, Cassie Rice, she lived in Aurora. She had a collarbone broken, and her mother was beaten up by a cop who was moonlighting making $50 an hour in a King Soopers parking lot. And he said, I want you to offer them, we want to have a meeting, a town hall meeting. And they gave us, he said, in this town hall meeting, we want to have police, and we want to have the mayor and the police chief be able to speak, and we want to choose who comes. You come to us with a list, and we have to know their vital information. And we said, okay, we're good with the town hall meeting, but here are our demands. 4 people for every cops. Cops cannot carry guns and they cannot carry uniform. People have the opportunity to testify behind a shroud. The police chief and the mayor have to sit in the audience and cannot speak. And it has to be open to the public, which means all media has the right to be there. People can film with their own cameras if they want to. Those are our demands. And they didn't come back to us. But see, that's how I think that's sort of, it raised up struggle. It did not tamp it down, it helped raise up struggle because people saw that they weren't very serious with meeting with the community. And so I think as you go into build a civilian review, I think it is a very vital tactic. I just think that you have to spell it out and you have to tell them exactly what a civilian review board looks like. And if they come with an alternative proposal, then people have to mobilize against that alternative proposal.